Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So let's get on to understanding, learning, memorizing all the details of the species that were in the news in the month of August 2019. Animal species here we're talking about. Definitely humans do not have any more species. Humans are the only species in the universe of their kind. But why exactly we'll be needing to study such a boring thing? Maybe not very boring for all of us, but definitely for some of us, because we are to clear an exam, and that exam always asked us questions about what was the species that was in news, what was its name, why was it in news, and what is their habitat, where do they live, what do they eat, how do they look, and what is their IUCN status, and why exactly were they in news. That's it. So this is the utility part, and either way we know what the utility is, so I'm really not gonna waste much of time into this thing. So let's get started. But again, there's just one warning that this thing might turn out a little bit boring, little bit redundant, but then this is how it is. Although we have tried to incorporate a lot of diagrams so that you people can go for a pictographic memory sort of thing, this is how we can memorize the things, a lot of pictures and explanation and linking it with the current affairs. But then beyond a point, there is not much we can do, because to cover same species, same sort of species, I mean definitely it's not the same sort of species, but the details are almost of the same kind. What is their name, where are they found, what do they eat, how do they look, where is their IUCN status, and that's it. So this thing might turn out to be a little bit boring, so what you can do is try covering only 5 to 6 species in a day. Don't go for watching the entire video in one go, it would serve no purpose. Our ultimate objective is to memorize the things, and this is it. That's it. So this is a warning part, so I think this is enough. Let's just directly get into the video. We'll be covering the first species now. So our first species is something like this. It looks like this. We'll go with the intuitive explanation first, and then onwards we'll go into the factual detail. There is just one request again, that these lectures are there in the Hindi language as well. So if you can understand Hindi, then I will request you to kindly watch those lectures, because I have tried to be very explanative there. Here I'll try to be quick because we have paucity of time. Alright, so intuitive explanation is this, that this is the bird that has undergone iterative evolution. So this bird that almost went extinct some 136,000 years ago because of a flood that was there right in the Indian Ocean. But then after this bird underwent iterative evolution, we'll see what this is, and this is our point of concern right now. And again, it has re-emerged now into the same very ocean. This is the intuitive explanation part. Let's just get into the factual details now. First of all, its name. So the name is white-throated rail bird. So why we're calling it white-throated rail bird? First of all, it's a flightless bird. This is either way simple. It cannot fly, plus it's a bird. It is white-throated because right in its throat there is a white color. So that makes it name as white-throated rail bird species. Its name is a little bit difficult, but this is how it is. You have to just memorize it. Alright, so 136 years ago, it went extinct because there was this heavy flood into the Indian Ocean island, and with this very flood thing it went extinct. But after then it went into iterative evolution. It means repeated evolution of similar or parallel structures from the same ancestors but at different times. So what does it mean is that this very species, its ancestors are the same, but the species, just to cope up with the changing environment, has undergone evolution. So although it went extinct, but we know how evolution works. Evolutionary species try to undergo some sort of morphological changes, some sort of other changes, so as to cope up with the nearby environment. So this is what this species has done. But for the examination purpose, we have to keep it tab on certain factual details. And number one is this, that what is iterative evolution? Although we have understood this thing intuitively, but just keep a tab on certain keywords here. It's this: same ancestors but at different times. If one species has undergone repeated evolution, that's it. This is what iterative evolution is. Plus, it's a chicken-sized bird. Not very important. This does look like a chicken, but it's not a chicken. It's a chicken-sized bird. Its size is as same as of chicken. Where exactly is it found? It's indigenous to the Madagascar. This is very important. Their place of habitat is very important. So this white-throated rail bird species, which went extinct some 136,000 years ago, has reappeared on the Aldabra Atoll, which is the Indian Ocean island. And according to Zoological Journal of the Linnean Society, this bird species re-emergence is a phenomenon called iterative evolution. And what is iterative evolution? It means the repeated evolution of similar or parallel structures from the same ancestors but at different times. Evolution is bound to be from same ancestor. This is either way obvious, but only difference is this, that number one, it's the repeated one, plus it's at different times. Alright, the name of the species we have already understood, we have already memorized because I kept on saying it multiple times. This is the utility behind watching this video lecture. Either way, factual details are everywhere same. Watching a video lecture only make one difference, that you end up memorizing everything. So this is the utility part. Alright, so chicken-sized bird it is indigenous to Madagascar. It's a flightless bird. It's known in the Indian Ocean area, and this is either way obvious. Madagascar is right there in the Indian Ocean. It belongs to Rallidae family, so we know there is something called species, and there is upper side to it is family, and then we have from species it's genus. And then we have family, then we have order, then we have kingdom, and then we have something else as well. Please write it in the comment section because it's right there in the NCERT, and this too is important. Just to have a basic understanding of these things as well, it's important to have a good hold over the primary sources, and NCERTs are primary sources. But let's just not deviate now, let's just get back to the things that we are studying. So it belongs to Rallidae family, which are a large cosmopolitan family of small to medium sized ground living birds. So ground living birds is a keyword here. Birds do not live in ground, right? They fly, but this bird do not fly. It's a flightless bird, and this is not important. Which is their family, this is something which we cannot memorize. There are a lot of species that we have to cover, so don't get bogged down by these not so important things. IUCN status is very, very important. It's the least concern. Please memorize this thing. So what are to be memorized from this very thing? There is just one point of caution, and that is this: what is important, what is not, is based on the past trends of UPSC. UPSC have asked us always about the IUCN status, its habitat, its name, and that's it. This is the reason these things become important. But what if this year UPSC asked us about the family as well? UPSC asks about certain other things as well. So that is the reason I have explained everything. But while revising, just keep a tab on the important things only. So what are the important things here? Number one, its name. It's white-throated rail bird species which went extinct, and it has re-emerged. This is what iterative evolution, plus certain more things as well. IUCN red list status is the least concern, and it is indigenous to the Madagascar. It's a flightless bird. That's it. This is point number 2, 3 that we have studied. That's it. If you haven't gotten hold over it, I would urge you to kindly pause the video, have a look at this slide in its entirety, try to read it with patience, try to memorize the things. That is the only key, and watch it multiple times, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, as many times as you can, until it gets ingrained into your brain, until you are being able to solve the question. This is it. So we are done with the species number 1. It was just a typo error here. I really am sorry for this. It's not the grizzled giant squirrel, because from no angle it is looking like a giant species, or is it looking like a squirrel? Absolutely not. So this is actually a white-throated rail bird species. Its name is right towards the left side of your screen. That's it. So we're done with the species number 1. Let's get on to species number 2. Now species number 2 is orangutan, which is right there towards the right side of your screen. It looks like a monkey, but it indeed is a monkey sort of thing. It's an ape. Why exactly we're studying this? Because the only orangutan that was there in the Nandankanan Zoo of Odisha, he has passed away. He has died because of a respiratory ailment. And why is this news so important? Because these orangutans, they are not native to India. So the only orangutan that was there in the India, that was there right in the Nandankanan Zoo of Odisha, this too has passed away. So after this, we are no longer having any orangutan. Why exactly this is so? Because these are not native to India. Had it been native to India, then we would be having certain more orangutan as well in many of the other zoos or in wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. But because they are not native to India, we have brought it from some other place, and this too has died now. This is point number 1. Where exactly is Nandankanan Zoo? It's in Odisha. Is it native to India? Absolutely not. So is it native? If not native to India, then it's native to which nations? It's native to Indonesia and Malaysia. That's it. I have certain paucity of time, so this is the reason I'm trying to cover it at a very fast pace. So, but either way, these are really, really simple, and it's right there in the screen as well, so you too can read it on your own. These are the 3 extant species of the great apes that are native to Indonesia and Malaysia. So this is point number 2, that these are native to Indonesia and Malaysia. That's it. And 3 extant species are there. So 3 species are there of apes. Like human beings, there only have one species. We are only species of our own kind. There is no other human being. But in case of apes, we are having 3 species: extant one, big one, Bornean, Sumatran, and Tapanuli. These are the islands right there in Indonesia. So we know Indonesia comprises of certain islands. Bornean is one of them, Sumatran is also one of them, and then we're having Tapanuli. I really don't know if Tapanuli is part of Indonesia or not, but maybe this too would be a part of Indonesia only. Either way, this is not important. The geographical range is what? Lowland forest on Bornean Island and Sumatran Island. This is either way obvious. So Bornean is there, Sumatran is there, and there they are having forest, and this is where they live. Their characteristics are what? They are having reddish brown hair, and they're not having black hair, because in chimpanzees and gorillas they are black hairs, but in case of these orangutan, we can see right here in the photo they are having reddish brown color, and this is not important. Alright, and further, because they are apes, so this is either way obvious that they would be using variety of sophisticated tools, and they would be constructing very good sleeping nests. This is either way obvious. This is not important. Now this is important. What are the threats to them? Number 1, habitat destruction, because we know they live in forest, and forests are being destroyed by human beings. Deforestation is there. Illegal pet trade is there. Some people try to keep them as pet because they are having this sort of weird hobby. This is why they are traded. Further, poaching is also there. What is the IUCN Red List status? These are critically endangered. This is really important. Any species whose IUCN status is critically endangered, that becomes really important for us, because there is nothing beyond critically endangered. After that, they would be either extinct in wild or they would be absolutely extinct. So moment any species gets entered into critically endangered phase, one has to be protected in its entirety. That's it. So utmost importance has to be given to the protection of any species whosoever is in the critically endangered category. So this is important. So what we have studied about orangutan, it's there, not native to India, it is native to Indonesia and Malaysia. It has died in the Nandankanan Zoo, which is in the Odisha. Plus, threat to it is the habitat destruction, deforestation, illegal pet trade, and poaching. And IUCN Red List status is critically endangered. Characteristics is how does it look like. So it looks like its hairs are of reddish brown and they are not black. And 3 extant species are right there in Borneo, Sumatra, and Tapanuli, which are islands of Indonesia. That's it. So this is it. We're done with the species number 2 as well. Let's just get into species number 3. So purple frog or pygnog frog is its name. How does it look like? It looks like this, right at the right side of your screen. It is like this. It is beautiful. It is sort of beautiful, definitely. So nature has its own way of creating things. So how different does it look like? We have a lot of species and they all look beautiful. Purple frog is its name. We also call it pig nose frog. And why exactly we're studying this? Because Kerala is going to declare it as its state amphibian. This is not important. What is important is if any species is our natural amphibian, our national amphibian, or our national aquatic animal or not, but either way we have covered it. Kerala is going to declare it as its state amphibian. And let's just delve into the factual details now. Number 1, it is believed that it used to have coexisted with the dinosaurs. So dinosaurs are extinct now, but this purple frog is still here, and it was discovered in the 2003 from where? From the Idukki district of Kerala. So it is endemic to the Western Ghats in India. So it is not just found in Kerala, it is found in Western Ghats, and Western Ghats are spread right from Gujarat till Tamil Nadu. This too was asked in the UPSC, the extent of Western Ghats. So it's not from Maharashtra up till Tamil Nadu, it's even from Gujarat as well. So this is point number 2, that it was discovered in 2003 from Idukki, Kerala, and it is endemic to the Western Ghats in India. And even if you take it to some other place, it would be found there as well, but as an exotic species. So naturally, indigenously, it is found only in the Western Ghats in India. That's it. It is also known as Nasica Betrutus and Sahyadriasis. Why exactly we're calling this? Although it's not been written here, but because Nasik is there in Maharashtra, it's part of Western Ghats, and Sahyadris are the second name of Western Ghats. So maybe this could be the probable reason, but either way it's not important. It's just to be memorized, and we can sort of create a link here in order to help us memorize this thing. So Nasica Betrutus Sahyadriasis is there. It's second name of what? Of purple frog, pig-nosed frog. That's it. Plus, it's a rarest kind because it is found once in a century. It's not like you're gonna come across this pig-nosed frog every now and then. No, you would get to see it every once in 100 years. That's it. It lays egg. This is either way simple. Nothing for me to explain here. It's had a protruding snout, so its nose is slightly upward directional. It has a bloating body. Its body is sort of fuller sort of thing. Bloating means bloating. I don't know what could be another explanation of bloating, so that's it. It's got a bloated body. It's either self-explanatory, and it has a short, stout limbs. Its legs are really small. Its color is dark purple to grayish in color. This is either way self-explanatory. We can see it right here in the picture. And it's the very short hind legs, not very important. We can see right in the photo, the back side legs are not very big. And this is the very reason it cannot leap from one spot to another. And this is not important. What's important is this: Kerala state amphibian, used to have coexisted with the dinosaurs. Its IUCN status is endangered. It's endemic to the Western Ghats, and Western Ghats we know something called Sahyadris as well, and its another name is Nasica betruchus sahyadriensis. If a question comes, Nasica betruchus sahyadriensis species was right there in the news. What was it? It's a purple frog endemic to the Western Ghats. That's it. It lays eggs. That's it. So this is it. If you haven't gotten hold over it, kindly pause the video, try to look at it, try to enjoy the beauty of this frog, and try to memorize all the factual detail. This is it. There is no other way around. So either way, we have just covered 3 species only, and it has turned out to be a 15-minute video. Let's just cover the last one and then we'll stop it. So first of all, the name is grizzled giant squirrel. Grizzled is grizzle, giant means very big, squirrel means squirrel. It's right here. Its photo is towards the left side of your screen. You too can see it's really good. Without understanding the context, let's just directly delve into the factual details now. Number 1, where exactly is Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary? It's in Kerala. It's written right over here. Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary is in Kerala. Where is Annamalai Tiger Reserve and Palani Hills? It's in Tamil Nadu. So Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary is in Kerala. Annamalai Tiger Reserve and Palani Hills are in Tamil Nadu. That's it. Now let's get into the details of this very species. So why exactly we're studying it? This grizzled giant squirrel, its habitat is there in the Western Ghats. From these many wildlife sanctuaries and the hills and reserves that we have already studied. But what has happened is that this grizzled giant squirrel has appeared into Eastern Ghats as well. For the very first time, they have sighted here as well. So this is what it's written over here. For the first time, researchers have sighted nest of the grizzled giant squirrel at Pakkamalai Reserve Forest near Jinji in Eastern Ghats. That's it. And CITES Appendix is 2nd, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is Schedule 1, and IUCN status is near threatened. So again, there's nothing for me to explain here. All we have to do is to memorize this thing. And CITES Appendix 2nd, Wildlife Protection Act 1972 Schedule 1, IUCN Red List status near threatened. That's it. We're really not going to be talking about what does the Appendix 2nd means, because CITES is altogether different convention that we have to cover in a very good manner. Here we'll be keeping ourselves limited to the species in news only. So we just have to memorize only Appendix 2, Schedule 1, near threatened. That's it. So either way, it's turned out to be of 18-minute video. We have covered 4 species. Rest of the species I'll be covering tomorrow. Also, I'll be putting the link. I'll definitely be uploading the video in order to get the feedback, so that I'll be of the idea that how many people are watching it, if actually is anybody interested in watching this, because if yes, then I'll keep on making it. If not, if nobody is watching, then I'll really be not into making it into 2 different languages. Either way, we are covering these species in detailed manner in Hindi language. So that's it. So do let me know in the comment section if any of you are really interested into watching this or not. So this is the first video. We'll be covering the rest of the ones. I'll be quickly making all the videos in English right up till August month, so that we sort of get into sync with the Hindi version as well. So this is it. We are done with the 4 species. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.